So, Conor, it's been about 17 months since you last boxed. What are you feeling going into Saturday night?
Nothing but calmness, to be honest, and more excitement. No nerves as of yet, but no doubt they'll come.
What have the last 17 months, or at least the last year, been like for you?
Oh, it's been horrific, man. Yeah, it's been hard, it's been challenging. It's been the hardest fight, defo, to date. So for me, it's built resilience, strength, and I'm just excited to get back in there Saturday night and put all this to bed, take everything out of my opponent.
So it's been about a year since the positive test for clomiphene was revealed. Do you feel like you've done enough since then to prove your innocence?
I've tried my hardest. Some people will always believe and some people won't. I wish it was as straightforward as it should be. I've done everything I possibly can. I've been an open book, which has sometimes been the worst thing about this. But unfortunately there's politics involved, there's rivalries involved, there's egos involved, when really there should be a confidential process and it's just dealt with directly. But unfortunately, it's just one of those situations where it's lose-lose.
Over the last year, you've had a lot of time to investigate, do your own research. In your opinion, what caused the positive test?
Food. No doubt. No doubt. You think I've employed the best scientists in the world on this? Leading anti-doping specialists on this case specifically to find out what had happened. And the article's in the Times for everyone to see. It's there. Bearing in mind there's been two other positive tests for this in boxing, for clomiphene, and 2 other cyclists, all within a year. Bearing in mind no one's ever heard of this before, up until my case. It's a bit coincidental, so it's a horrible situation to have to go through. But I'm here now, and hopefully, we can change the law on clomiphene for testing in athletes. Because, I wish no other athlete go through this and what I've had to go through. You
said food. Can you trace it back to when, where, how?
They're saying I was contaminated within 2 weeks of the test. And it's come from eggs. The scientists can prove it's from the embryos in the eggs. And I know it's taboo, you shouldn't be feeding the eggs clomiphene. It's illegal, you're not allowed to do it. But we do have eggs imported. Well, eggs are global. So the more athletes test positive for this, the more people will see that there actually is an issue with clomiphene as a whole. And then you say, well, is it strict liability? How can it be strict liability? If you're eating a banana and it says it's a banana, it tastes like a banana, it's a banana. It's not like I'm not diligent or I was or reckless with anything I was taking. I've always been tested. So this does need to change. It definitely needs to change, and there should be more duty of care for the athletes. Because not all athletes have the resources, it's just a 2-year ban, because strict liability. But what do you do? What do you do? Bearing in mind, WADA done a case study on this. It's not like I say eggs out of nothing. It's scientifically proven. If you look at WADA done a case study on this. It's for everyone to see, it's there. And they can prove my scientists that I've employed, spent hundreds of thousands on. Would I do that if I was guilty? Would I spend hundreds of thousands on it if I was guilty? To do deep investigation. Also have the evidence there, ready for everyone to see. Ready for the board to see and UCAD to see. I've had my doctors and scientists on TalkSport talking about this. And done interviews with the Times. So there's nothing to hide from me or my team. We're an open book and always have been an open book, despite all the politics and everything that's been spoken about. What my scientists can prove is when you've digested a tablet versus contamination with food, it shows up different in your system, completely different. Mine's of food, and your science doesn't lie. You can't deny that, because it shows up, the metabolite's different in your body. So hopefully it gets to a stage where clomiphene can be changed the way they test for it, and then something good's come out of it.
Before this happened, if another fighter tested positive for clomiphene and used the reasoning that you just gave right there, would you have believed them?
No, I wouldn't. And that's the worst thing about it, because I'm the one on the other end now. It's like when Canelo tested positive for clenbuterol. you sort of go, well, it's obvious. But when you look at the signs, when you look at everything as a whole and the bigger picture, how can you not see I'm innocent? Would I spend hundreds of thousands on this for scientists to dig deeper into the testing? Take my hair follicles, take my nails. They've got my hair and nail follicles. We got the results back for them. There is no doping over a 6-month year period. They can solve murder cases 15 years ago. They can definitely tell if there's any abnormalities in your body through science. You can tell. So would I believe it? No, but clearly there is an issue. I don't know why it's not been addressed that WADA done a case study on this. The World Anti-Doping Association done a case study that of the clomiphene has risen in athletes 15%. You can't make it up. It's not an excuse. It's not nothing new. This has been ongoing. It's just my case is so high profile. You do the research and look at the WADA case study. Scientifically proven.
You have been cleared to fight by the Association of Boxing Commissions and by the Florida Commission on Saturday night. Robert Smith, who heads the British Boxing Board of Control, said you shouldn't be fighting until you address these issues with them. Some of your peers, like Josh Taylor, have said you shouldn't be near a boxing ring right now. Do they have a point?
Josh Taylor shouldn't be near the boxing ring. He's just lucky his issues aren't as public as mine. Ask him where he's been the past year.
And Robert Smith?
And Robert Smith, it's obvious to see the agenda, the motive. Is it not obvious? It's funny how other cases haven't been spoken about at all publicly because of confidentiality. But yeah, openly talking on air about my case, knowing that there was going to be an appeal before even we did. How did TalkSport know there was going to be an appeal before we did? So please help me understand what's going on. The board have sent an email to Matchroom, to the ABC, giving me permission to fight. He's no longer suspended. The ABC wouldn't let me fight if the board didn't give permission. This whole thing's been handled so terribly. All this is now ego and politics. It's gone way past my innocence. Because if it was about my innocence, they would sit down and look at the report, look at the evidence.
Do you believe that you have been exonerated by this evidence? Because there'll be a lot of people that say you are cleared right now because of a technicality, because your lawyers found a loophole for you to be taken off the suspension list, and that as soon as you were taken off, there was an appeal by UKAD and by the British Boxing.
So what you're doing now is just going off information that's been so heavily pushed publicly, which is incorrect. Where have you asked me, was you still willing to work with UKAD despite winning the case? Why is that not being asked? Because I've said I'm willing to sit down with UKAD. Not just, this is done, finished, and I'm free, and that's it, I'm off. No, that's not the point here for me. If you only knew what I've gone through, it's bad. It's bad, and no young fighter should have to go through what I've gone through. What, am I insane? Am I a psychopath? You think I can talk like this to you when I'm on the brink of suicide because of this? Do you think I can do that? Do I look like a psychopath? Do I look like I could sit here and look you in the eye and lie to the world, and lie to my family, and lie to my team? Just for all of this to get published because of politics, because of egos. You've got a young man's career on hold, a young man's image on hold. And I carry my name. I spent every last penny to prove my innocence. I spent every cent I have, every cent I've worked for to prove my innocence. So what, am I insane? Am I a psychopath? So when you're asking me, it's like, well, I'm willing to work with you, Cad. What's been publicised and what's been put out there is a lie. The whole thing's a lie. They're trying to control the narrative. Hence TalkSport knowing information before we do. Hence this narrative being pushed. What, when the board fined me 50 grand? The board fined me 50 grand. I said, okay, what? And 7 misconduct charges. What about when other fighters have tested positive and you knew about it? No misconduct charges under UKAD and you still let them fight. What then? What about when other fighters have fouled VADA, but we've got an email saying you don't recognise VADA for this other fighter? What about them reaching out to commissions around the world saying do not give him a licence? Anyone involved in a Conor Benn fight will lose their licence. All my sparring partners getting emails saying they'll lose their licence. Does that sound fair to you? You tell me, does that sound like an organisation that you want to work with when they are my own people? They are my people. Yeah, I get shown more love out here in America, letting me fight. Why can't people see the motive and the agenda? Why can't people see actually what's going on? Forget all the politics, forget all the noise, look at the evidence. Have I got to become a psychopath overnight who's absolutely insane? You know, so that's where I'm at with this now. And it's like I'm willing to show the evidence. I'm willing to work with everyone. We've asked for meetings with them. No, we don't want to sit down with you. Bearing in mind, after all this had gone on, there was a lot of anger from me. Going, hold on a minute, that don't sound right and that don't sound fair. Reaching out to all my sparring partners. Reaching out to commissions around the world. Finding me 50 grand. And then that's not even talking about the legal letters we've been getting. The reason why I didn't go to the board was because I wanted to clear. Why is no one talking about me being cleared by the WBC? Bearing in mind other fighters have got a 6-month ban. We're all just forgetting I've been cleared by them when other fighters have got bans. Why is that not being spoken about? Them who said it was eggs, I didn't believe it was eggs because I denied it. I didn't believe it was in my system. It was only until we'd done our own tests that I believe, that it was in my system. You know, so when you look at that all, now you tell me, what does that look like to you? Because if you knew everything that was going on behind closed doors and how we've actually been treated, where's duty of care for the athlete? Where's the duty of care for the fighter? This is just ego and politics and money. That's all this is. And I'm in the middle of it. And my innocence and my name is in the middle of it. And my name's getting dragged down because of this.
You were on a track to become one of the biggest stars in boxing before all this happened. Do you think you can get back on that track?
I'll probably still sound one of the biggest names in boxing, despite what's gone on. You think I haven't fought for a year and a half. And there's more hype around my name now. I know people say all publicity is good publicity.
I don't think you would say that.
No, I definitely disagree. But listen, I've been dealt this card. Could I have dealt with it better? But how do you tell a 26-year-old how to deal with this? I didn't take advice. I fight with my heart on my sleeve. I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's just the way I am. It's just who I am. So I'm going to protest my innocence. You know, but then should I have stayed quiet? Should I have stayed quiet or spoken? Because either way, it's both the wrong thing to do. There was no winning in this situation for me. Can I reach my full potential still? I'm 26 years old. You know, I've stayed in the gym. I've stayed working. You know, if anything, this has given me resilience and strength. It's given me the mindset of what can a man do to me. I don't think you realise how bad this was for me. When you're on the brink of suicide, you find out about yourself.
Appreciate it, Conor.
Thank you.